Morning folks, and welcome back to the farm. It's another glorious morning out here this morning. Very, very hot. Holy man, 7:45 this morning. The air conditioning was on. So it's definitely t-shirt weather. Anyways, I'm just hopping in to pick up. Carmen's already in the side-by-side. We're gonna try and round up the missing ram. Yesterday he went for a big grand tour, went down way down south end of the farm, was hiding in the bush over there. So we got him back into one of the small paddocks. I say small, but still quite large. Large enough, in fact, that I can't run around and catch him in there. So that's why I got the pickup. I'm gonna go get some panels. We'll set up a smaller containment and a bucket of grain. Kind of the Acme Wile E. Coyote kind of thing, right? Like hopefully he runs in there, we slam the gate shut, and then it's just a smaller containment area and we'll be able to get him and load him in the trailer and bring him back up here with the other ram. So I'm in behind the barn here now. These are the panels I'm going to take down, disassemble, just make a small little holding area in there. Like I said, dump a bucket of grain and hopefully he goes in there and then we'll be able to get him. So now the easy part's over. We're down here, we got the panels all set up, a little holding area. And my wife doesn't think this is going to go very well. I don't think she has much faith. But the hard part is really what's coming, is convincing that sheep that what's in this bucket is better than all this lush grass in here. Which isn't even a deceitful thing. It actually, I mean, a pile of grain treats is actually quite tasty. But it's just whether or not I can convince him that he should go in that set of panels and that certain death doesn't await him. Hopefully. Hopefully he doesn't end up like Lyndon Christie and just outrun me all day long. Go on, Fred. Okay, I'll just go I'll put the whole bucket in there. And you know I'm not holding out on you. Come on, fella. I'll just back up. Ranger, come. See, the problem is he's really hung up with all these ladies here. Making the right direction. He's in. Can't make any sudden movements. Come back out. If I can get him in there, get his head down while he's eating, then we stand a chance of being able to make a sneak attack. Of course, we've got 27 sheep that want to come in and get their grain treats too. That doesn't help. Well, she was right. We went around and around and around to no success. You got one kid screaming, the other one yelling, and then both the wife and I get, you know, attitudes get escalated, right? And so then nothing good comes to that. So we just said, no, I'll just chill and I'll come back down later just by myself. And sometimes it's easier to do that. You just do something by yourself just because then you've only got one person getting pissed off and not four. I had a bite of lunch and I'm just filling up the tote full of water to haul down to the other sheep. And that's probably gonna take like an hour to fill. So I should probably do something useful while that fills. So I'm gonna go in the shop. I'm gonna hang some fly strips because my goodness, I don't know like why. I don't know why, but if you go in here, it's a buzz. It's like a hornet's nest in here. If you come up into the window, actually just inside the door, there's just flies everywhere in here. And I'm thinking, because you're just like, well, where do they get in? Like the door's closed, the windows are all closed. And I think it's the overhead radiant heater tube. I think they come in through the exhaust stack, and where the air intake is right back there, it's just wide open. There's no screen or nothing on there, which is probably for the best because I wouldn't want to catch a whole bunch of flies in there and then have them get stuck and then 15th of October fire up the heater and have, you know, a fire inside the tube. Like, of course there's going to be a fire inside the tube, but like not that kind of fire, like burning insects kind of fire inside the tube. That wouldn't be good. So fly strips it is. So I got my tote filled up and I'm down here with the girls here right now. So in the last 2 days, these ewes and lambs have drank 500 liters of water. So figure that out, about 10 liters each per day when it's hot like this. Now, of course, the lambs themselves are probably only drinking maybe about 5, and the ewes are probably drinking closer to 15, just because they're lactating, right? So lots of times sheep don't regularly drink a whole pile of water on a wet year. In fact, the first couple years that we had sheep, they were really, really wet years, and we had troughs out and they wouldn't even touch them, and they were getting lots of water just off the grass from morning dew and things like that. And even back home in the UK, the sheep that are up on the fells there, they spend the whole year up on the fell, and man, they just get whatever dew they get off the grass and whatever they find, in a mountain stream here or there kind of thing. But largely they don't get a lot of water. But here today on the farm, it is 37 degrees Celsius. And I mean, you can see their wardrobe. It's, wool coat certainly wouldn't be my first choice on a day like today, but they got them all just lined up here. They're pretty happy. So it's a 1,000 liter tub. They drank half of it down. So we're just getting her all topped up here again so they can reach. They can't quite reach into the bottom of the trough. Now that everybody's all watered up, it was time to be a little bit deceitful, and I got them all in the corrals with some grain treats there and penned them up, because largely they were being a real problem, those girls, when it came to catching that ram, because of course sharing a fence line, they're quite a distraction, right? Let's be honest, they're a big distraction. And so anytime I try to get him in a corner, he would always be interested in other things. So we're just going to give him nothing else to look at except a little bit of grain. I don't even know if he's even eaten the grain that I dumped there before. Probably not. I'm not going to give him too much, but anyways, we'll wander over and see if we can't get this fella at least in that little pen. And then maybe once the wife gets home again, she just took in the girls swimming. Maybe once she gets home again, we'll come up and wrangle him into that trailer and get him back to where he's supposed to be. So funnily enough, as I'm walking across the field here, I can see he's actually in the pen. He's in the pen. He's exactly where I need him right now. But I got about 150 yards and a 6-foot high fence to get over, and then probably another 30-yard dash before I can get that gate closed. So the chances of me making that are pretty slim. But why not have a go, I guess? We'll just come up on this side of the fence nice and slow. Try and crawl over the gate. And then that 30-yard dash is going to be exactly that. I'm going to move with purpose, let's just say that. Those panels are wide. Oh, see, he spotted me. Those panels are wide open. And even, I think if I even made that 30-yard dash, I'd have to make myself pretty wide to cover that much ground. Might have to rethink this plan. So he's seen me dump my grain. I'm gonna leave the bucket there so that I don't come out and he thinks there's still something in my hand. And then I'm just gonna retire off to the side here, and hopefully he's still a little snackish. Maybe wants to go in there. Because 37 degrees, I don't feel like going around and around in this carousel. That's not fun for anybody. So the real reason, aside from the obvious fact that there's only a single fence line between the ram and the ewes, and there's potential for him to break through and do some naughty business, the real reason I don't really want the rams in here this year is because we've had now 2 years of drought, and it is so excessively warm, and there is no water down here. So like I said, on a wet year, you can't see it now because everything's grown up, but on a wet year, there's actually a creek that flows through here, and the corner of it just touches the corner of that pen. And so we consistently have a water source in this little paddock just because it flows through right through the corner, and it's pretty handy. But when you haven't had much rain in the last 2 years, and really we haven't anything to speak of in the latter half of summer here, it's just not feasible. So what I've actually had done is I've just had that gate open and let the ewes come in here and do a little bit of grazing just to kind of keep it up, just to munch it down a little bit, keep it clean, and maintain it a little bit. Well, we've done more than a few laps, unsuccessful laps, and I'm leaking worse than the hydraulics on my father-in-law's tractor right now. So yeah, I'm gonna need more help for this fella, or a smaller pen. I was hoping to get him into the corner and get him penned up here, but he's very athletic, unlike myself. As you can see, he's panting pretty heavy there too. So I give him a good run for his money here, but he's about 50 feet in front of me. And the pride in me says I could make that. I could make that 50 feet before he could engage four-wheel drive and get out of there. But the realist in me tells me that no, he'll have 2 steps in four-wheel drive before I get there. And if I'm fortunate enough to get my arms around his neck or a hoof or something like that, then I'm gonna get dragged like I'm grading the driveway. And you know what, I'm gonna risk injuring him. I'm probably almost a guarantee to injure myself. So I guess for now, I've been defeated again. I tell you, there's nothing that'll build resentment like having to pack water to an animal somewhere that it shouldn't be. But I'll have to run up and get some water. I might as well let these girls out and they can go do their thing. It's certainly not apples to apples. Getting the girls is easy because there's a whole bunch of them. I don't have to convince each one individually. I just have to convince one and the rest just do whatever. In the case of one animal by itself, I might actually have to go get the other ram, put them in there, and then just tag team the pair of them. But or bring the other ram down, and then I got a whole lot of hormones in the mix, and they could be fighting and farting around and busting fences, and I ended up losing 2 rams. So the saga continues. So now all of this is made exponentially worse because of 2 seemingly minor injuries which are plaguing me right now. One is a sprained ankle that I got yesterday when I was trying to get him into the pen that I cannot get him out of now. And I was over a hillock or a hummock, I'm not sure which, but anyways, my ankle went this way and then that way, and feels, as you can imagine, fantastic today. And the second one is actually on my ring finger there. You can see the purple line. I don't know really exactly what happened there, but I blew a blood vessel in my finger while I was picking up the front ski of the Skidoo and putting it on the dolly. So it's one of those summers where you feel like time has gone by really, really quickly and haven't really accomplished much. And it was beginning of August, and the snowmobile is still sitting outside, and it should be in the shop. It should be in the shop, but I didn't want to just drive it in the shop and just have it sitting there as a boat anchor. I wanted to get a dolly for it. So finally, it took me till the beginning of August to get a dolly for it. So I got all set up there, and I can wheel it around and move it however I need to move it. But in the process, I blew this blood vessel in my finger there, and I had to get my ring off real quick. My finger swole. It's going down quite a bit now, but you can see it's kind of purple. The whole finger swole right up. So I don't have any foot speed because of my ankle, and I don't have any grip strength because of the hand. So I got a 2-point handicap going for me right now. Anyways, as you can see, I'm pretty flushed. So I'm gonna head back up to the shop, crack open the deep freeze, see if I can't find myself a popsicle in there and try and cool off a little bit. So I'll let you go for now, and hopefully tomorrow we can catch ourselves a ram.